Welcome back to On the Roll with Matt. Today, I want to talk about something personal, something that has taken patience, stress, prayer, waiting, frustration, and a whole lot of perseverance. We finally sold the land. And honestly, that sentence feels simple, but the process behind it was anything but simple. Because sometimes in life we think victory is supposed to feel clean. We think breakthrough is supposed to arrive wrapped up nicely, with no stress attached, no uncertainty, no fear, and no emotional weight. But real life does not usually work that way. Sometimes the breakthrough comes after exhaustion. Sometimes the blessing comes after disappointment. Sometimes the answered prayer still requires paperwork, decisions, sacrifice, and courage. And that is what this season reminded me of. Selling this land was not just about property. It was not just about money. It was not just about checking something off a list. For me, it represented movement. It represented hope. It represented the fight to keep going when life feels heavy and uncertain. And I know I am not the only one who has been there. Maybe you are waiting for something to shift. Maybe you are trying to get ahead financially. Maybe your health is changing. Maybe your family is carrying pressure. Maybe your mind is tired from holding things together for so long. Maybe you keep doing the right thing, but it still feels like nothing is moving. I get that. With my disability, I have had to learn that perseverance is not always loud. Sometimes perseverance is not a motivational speech. Sometimes it is just getting up again. Sometimes it is making the phone call. Sometimes it is showing up to class. Sometimes it is asking for help. Sometimes it is praying when you do not have the words. Sometimes it is choosing not to give up, even when part of you feels worn down. One thing my studies in behavioral health sciences have continued to teach me is that resilience is not the absence of struggle. Resilience is the ability to keep adapting in the middle of struggle. It is not pretending everything is fine. It is not ignoring pain. It is not pushing emotions into the dark and calling that strength. Real resilience is being honest about what hurts while still choosing a healthier next step. And that has been a huge lesson in my life. Because when you live with a progressive disability, when you are in recovery, when you are trying to build a future while also carrying things you did not ask for, you learn that life is not always about having control. Sometimes it is about learning how to respond when control is taken from you. That is where the fight comes in. Not a fight of bitterness, not a fight of anger, not a fight of trying to prove your worth to the world, but the kind of fight that says, I am still here. God is still working. My story is not finished. That kind of fight matters. For me, God gets the glory in this. He is my higher power. He is the reason I have been able to keep walking through seasons that felt impossible. He has carried me when my strength was not enough. He has opened doors when I could not see a way forward. And He has reminded me again and again that delay is not always denial. Sometimes what looks like waiting is actually preparation. And I say that carefully because I know waiting can be painful. I do not want to make it sound easy. There were moments where I felt overwhelmed, moments where I wondered how everything was going to work out, moments where I felt the pressure of wanting to provide, wanting to move forward, wanting to feel like I was not falling behind. But looking back, I can see how God was still present in the process. Not just in the final result, not just when the land sold, not just when the answer came. He was there in the uncertainty too. And that is something I think we miss sometimes. We want God to show up only as the miracle, but sometimes He shows up as endurance. Sometimes He shows up as wisdom. Sometimes He shows up as peace in the middle of chaos. Sometimes He shows up through people who encourage us, through small opportunities, through the strength to make one more decision. Behavioral health often talks about protective factors, the things that help people survive and grow through adversity. Things like support systems, faith, purpose, emotional regulation, healthy coping, and the ability to make meaning out of hardship. And when I look at my life, I can see those things at work. My faith gives me grounding. My recovery gives me structure. My education gives me language for what I have lived. My disability gives me perspective. My family gives me purpose. And God gives me strength when I have none left. That does not mean everything is perfect. Selling the land does not magically solve every problem. It does not remove every stressor. It does not mean life suddenly becomes easy. But it does remind me that progress is still progress. And sometimes we need to celebrate movement, even if the whole mountain has not moved yet. Because if we only celebrate when everything is fixed, we may miss the goodness of God in the small victories. We may miss the moment where we realize, I made it through something I did not think I could handle. We may miss the evidence that our perseverance was not wasted. So today, I just want to encourage someone watching this. Keep going. Keep fighting for your future. Keep showing up for your healing. Keep taking the next right step. Keep praying. Keep surrendering. Keep doing the work, even when the results are not immediate, because sustained change does not happen all at once. It happens through repeated choices. It happens when we choose honesty over avoidance, faith over fear, growth over bitterness, discipline over giving up, surrender over control. And let me be clear, surrender does not mean quitting. Surrender means I stop pretending I can carry everything by myself. It means I give God what I cannot control while still being faithful with what I can do today. That is where peace begins. Not because life becomes predictable, but because I am no longer placing my hope in perfect circumstances. I am placing my hope in God. So, yes, we finally sold the land, and I am grateful. But more than that, I am reminded that the fight was worth it. The waiting was not meaningless. The perseverance mattered. The prayers mattered. The hard days mattered. The moments where I wanted to quit but did not, they mattered. And maybe that is the message today. Do not despise the process just because it is painful. Do not assume nothing is happening just because you cannot see movement yet. Do not let a difficult season convince you that God is absent. Sometimes He is doing His deepest work in the places where we feel the weakest. And when the breakthrough finally comes, you will not just be grateful for the result. You will realize you became stronger in the process. You became wiser. You became more grounded. You became more compassionate. You became more aware of what really matters. And maybe, just maybe, the victory is not only that the situation changed. Maybe the victory is that you kept going and did not let the situation change who God called you to be. So, wherever you are today, keep rolling. Even if it is slow, even if it is messy, even if you are tired, even if the road does not look the way you imagined, keep rolling. God is not finished with your story. Thank you for coming back to listen. If this video encouraged you, please like it, comment below, and share it with someone who may need a reminder to keep going. I will see you next time on the Roll with Matt.